Okay, we are at a really exciting point in this program because we are finally going to record something. I know! So here we are in the section. It is performance and technical helpers, or technical specs, I guess you could say. So basically, we're finally going to talk about performing, which is very exciting. And then we're also going to talk about technical specs, which is much less exciting, but extremely important. So we're going to go ahead and go there. So there's one big secret that we have in the voiceover world so that you can make your audiobooks or any recording really good. And the key is to speak naturally, but slowly. So what do I mean by that? Your natural voice tends to be a little faster than what you're going to want it to be when you actually record. I know that you can hear I naturally speak pretty quickly, and that can actually be hard to follow. So there's a couple of reasons that we want to do this. First, you have to remember, when someone is hearing an audiobook for the first time, they don't know what's being said, and they have to visualize it in their head. Not just hear what you say, but then they're picturing it. You want it to be a little bit slower than you normally would be, just so that they can follow the story the best that they possibly can. And the second reason, which is actually the really big, important reason you're going to want to do this, is because the slower you read, the longer your book's going to be per finished hour, and that equals more money for you. Now, I am absolutely not advocating that you speak so slowly that you sound insane, because I've heard some narrators who do that, and it's obvious they're just they're either bad at what they do or they're trying to make a lot of money unfairly. So, just get into the habit of speaking slowly so that when those per finished hour books do come along, you have a great opportunity to make a good amount of money sounding normal. So we will work on that. Okay, so we are now ready to find the first book that we're going to use for our first audition. So it's very exciting. We're going to pick our first title that we're going to audition for. And because you're good at it, you're probably going to get the job. So that's exciting. So the thing we want to think about is that you're very excited at this point. You're really eager to go ahead and read the next bestseller, because why wouldn't you want to be rich and make thousands of dollars on one book alone? But you're going to have to slow down, pull back, and start much slower. And the reason you want to do this is from my bad experience that I'm going to explain to you very shortly. So when we're going to pick our title, let's go ahead and jump right into that, and I'll show you how and why we're going to do it the way we're going to do it. So here we are on ACX. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to this search here. Now we can search producers for hire. Now that would be who you are. This is where your name's going to appear as soon as one of the narrators that could be hired. So we're not going to search there because we're not looking for a narrator. We are looking for titles accepting auditions. So let's go ahead and click that. And that takes us to some titles that you can audition for. Now, right here, as you can see, this is very important. On the left side of the screen are filters so that you can choose what exactly you're looking for in a particular title. Now, the more filters you put on, the less books are actually going to pop up. So as you can see, I only have 2 filters listed right here on this profile. I have female, as who would they want a female narrator to voice, because obviously that's what I would go for. And also I've put that the project rate is $200 to $400 per finished hour. So as you can see right now, there are only 6 titles that I can audition for. Now let's just remove the per finished hour so it goes to royalty share or any price, and let's see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, the number of titles now available jumped to 1,776. So that is significantly better, and actually a pretty cool number for Americans. But anyway, my point is that the less filters that you use, the better opportunity you have of finding a really good title. So now for the first project that you're going to want to do, you actually are going to want to choose an extra particular filter. You're going to want to look at the project length. Okay, so at this point we're looking at any length of book. So it's a book that might be 5 minutes long to a book that might be 20 hours. We don't know at this point. They're all listed here in this area. So for the first book that you want to audition for, you definitely want to check the filter for under 3 hours. So we're going to go ahead and apply that. Okay, so now you see there's only 787 titles left. So that's actually quite a few books that are under 3 hours. So at this point, now what we're going to do is we're going to go into each book individually and try to find a book that is less than 1 hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this first one, Low Carb for Athletes, this book. Ah, perfect. Our first try. It's 0.7 hours long, which is great. Now, the reason that this is so ideal, I'll tell you the story. When I read my first book, it said that it was going to be about 5.5 hours long. This would said something like 5.5 or so. And when I finally finished the book, it ended up being a little over 6 hours long. And I worked on it for weeks and turned it in, was very excited. And then the technical people from ACX wrote me and said, oh, by the way, your entire input levels are completely wrong. You have to record the whole thing over again. Needless to say, I was very upset because it took me over a month to finish my first book. And that was a month I wasn't going to get back. And it was another month that I was going to have to do it again. So be sure for your first time, because you are going to make mistakes your first time, make sure that the book that you're reading is less than an hour. Because if you have input anything wrong in your computer, or if you are reading too quickly, or any number of things can go wrong with what you're doing, you want to make sure that if you have to do the whole thing over again, it's not going to cause you the extreme panic attacks that it caused me. So, okay, so let's say we're going to go ahead and audition for Low Carb for Athletes, a simple guide for peak performance. Looks good. It's a nonfiction book. It could be male or female, so that's me. And as you can see right here, they haven't specified any kind of accent, vocal style, any of those things. So if you had checked off something, this book wouldn't have popped up in your searches. And that could be a really bad thing, because this might be a good book for you to want to read. So good thing that we left it blank, because now we have our first audition. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk now about what to do to set up so that we can do our actual first audition.